Well, I kind of somewhat disagree. I mean, we've had plenty of years where we've had 5,000-yard passers and 45 and 50-yard touchdown passers. I mean, what we really like to do is we have our core system, but then we like to play to the strengths of our players. And when we have a guy that is dynamic and can do both, then we're going to do that. And obviously Cam was that. Nick has proven he can be that to some degree. And, I think anytime, but definitely right now in the kind of the climate we're in football, a dual threat or a quarterback that can hurt the defense with his feet is giving defenses problems. And it should. I mean, because in essence, you're gaining a blocker on a lot of things in the run game. And then even on pass plays, when things break down, they can't just worry about covering people, or if they blitz and they get a guy free, but you got a guy back there athletic who can make him miss and then keep the play alive. I mean, those are things that frustrate defensive coaches and defenses because they may be in the right spot, but you still convert. Last year we had a guy in Ryan Applin who could make plays with his feet, could definitely keep plays alive, but he was more of a pure passer, and we played more to those strengths, and we were able to win the conference. So I think it's just a matter of trying to take what our guy can do and build around those.
You guys have really only had one game where you guys have struggled a little bit around the ball, Mississippi State game. Has anything changed since that game? Was that just a simple matchup issue?
I mean, they do a good job on defense, but I think it's just a standpoint of we didn't do our best job up front. We were still learning our guys. There were some things that we do now that we weren't doing then. But hopefully we just improved, to be honest with you, and I think we have.
Rhett, can you talk about the Isom and Berry, that were really good guards in 2010, got out in the corner and did a lot of damage? How are your guys now doing compared to those guys?
They're doing well. We've done more zone game this year than opposed to pulling guards, but we've done both. We pulled guards on Saturday, and we'll continue to do both. That's both of them are a big part of kind of our philosophy and what we do. But obviously, you think about Isom and Berry; they were famous for all that pulling they did. We ran a lot more what you call gap game that year. They got really good at it. I thought it was good to see the other day, Slade and Kozan out there in space doing a good job, because that's a good change-up. It adds a lot to what we do. And those are things, I mean, that's not easy, because there's no telling what kind of looks you're going to get. Everything's always different when you're pulling guys out in space, but those guys are athletic enough to do it, and I think they're getting pretty good at it.
Rhett, can you describe the vetting process with Nick? How much conversation did you have with Coach Rick over at Georgia, and kind of getting a feel for him before y'all really decided, okay, this is our guy?
Didn't have any conversation with him. We knew about Nick. As a matter of fact, when I was at Arkansas State, I went down there in the spring to check on him. I mean, we were recruiting him when we were at Arkansas State, and then we had people like Rodney Garner knew him at Georgia, had recruited him there. I think Damien had even looked into him a little bit when he was at Florida State. But Coach Malzahn and I had some dialogue with him when we were at Arkansas State, and then we came here. We had another month and a half or so to get to know him, and everything we've ever heard was on the up and up. But he's a great young man. Everybody loves him, and so we felt pretty good about things moving forward with him.
Thoughts on Georgia's defense?
Do what now?
Georgia's defense?
Yeah, I mean, very aggressive style defense. Do some multiple things with their fronts. Same thing on the back end with their blitzes. They were young this year, but you can tell now they're 9 games in. They're getting healthy too overall. So they're aggressive. They create some matchup problems and some unique things that maybe are different than we've seen the last couple weeks, but nothing that we haven't seen before. But they do a good job, and they put good athletes on the